moms, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Liz and this is Simply Homeschool. If you're returning, hey guys, thanks again for clicking on this thumbnail. I love that you guys come and show my channel some support and hang out with me for a little bit. So if you guys watched my previous video, it was just kind of a little catch up on our December and some of January. So in that video, I mentioned that we had the virus or disease, and I wanted to do a video and kind of touch on that with you guys and let you guys know our experience. Now, it included myself, my husband, and our 2 kids. And then it also involved my sister, her husband, and their 2 kids. So if you are new to this channel, myself and my sister do school together. We have 4 kids total, and we just thought, you know, that it would be a really nice experience to be able to do school together. So we felt the blessing of being able to be together for the first, 3 months of school together. So it really was such a blessing, and the kids really enjoyed it. They got to be together. But since all of us had gotten sick, we've decided to do school apart. Going into it, we knew that there was a higher chance of us getting the disease just because my husband works and her husband works, so then it kind of just doubles the chances. And then with Christmas, I went shopping, and you know, we took all of our precautions. The guys take their precautions when they're at work, but you know, it's just inevitable sometimes. So I wanted to get on here and tell you guys about our experience. I know my channel is a homeschool channel, and this is kind of not really going along with homeschool, but I feel like you guys truly did show me support in this time of need. The prayers that you guys did for us will never go forgotten. And I appreciated each and every one of them. As I would read them, each one of them, I prayed along with you guys. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna give you guys a heads up. I'm a very emotional person. I cry a lot, and this has been one of the most difficult things that we have gone through. So I'm gonna be a little bit emotional, and I'm going to apologize ahead of time, and I'm gonna try not to have like that ugly cry or oh, you guys, it's just been something else. But I wanted to just thank you guys for all of the love that you guys poured onto our family with prayer. I know that prayer is so powerful, and God hears all of his children, and I don't know, I just feel blessed to have the opportunity of such God-loving moms or dads or grandparents, whoever you are that watches my channel. I just love knowing that you guys are God-loving and God-fearing, and you guys gave me so much comfort when I would read your guys' messages, or when you guys would message me, you know? So I wanted to thank you guys first. I do belong to some Facebook Becca groups, and the love that was shown on that platform was just unreal as well. So I'm just very grateful, and I feel very blessed. So with all that being said, I'm gonna move on from that before I can't control myself. And I'll just kind of speed up the first part of it just for those of you who have watched my catch up for December. I started to explain things on there, and I probably shouldn't have. I should have waited for this, but just to kind of give you guys an idea, my husband started to show symptoms of the virus on Sunday the 13th of December. All it was tightness in his chest. Now, he has asthma, and asthma triggers, or allergies trigger his asthma, and we were literally all sneezing the week before. So I want to say Thursday, Friday, maybe like at the end of that week prior, we literally just thought it was allergies. I'm so confused right now, you guys. I'm gonna try to keep my words together. For some reason, it's still hard to say the right words. I'm still fatigued and tired, and I still have a little bit of a cough, so bear with me. So he started to feel the tightness on Sunday or Saturday. I kind of want to say it was Saturday and then Sunday, and then he went into work Monday with no symptoms. And then he came home Monday and said, I don't really feel that good. My chest is really bothering me. So from that point, I had him sleep in my daughter's room. The kids slept with me. And Tuesday morning, he woke up. He has to wake up really early for work. He came into the room and told me, I don't feel good. I'm gonna call in sick just in case. At that point, he really just thought it was a sinus infection, because from Monday to Tuesday, during the middle of the night when he woke up, his sinuses were bothering him. And every year he gets a sinus infection around this time. So that is what we thought. And I'm not even gonna lie, last year we were really sick, and I started to think maybe we had the virus then, until we got the virus. Then I realized that was not the virus. Similar, because the symptoms are so all over the place with this virus. Like, it could literally be anything. And when we were sneezing, I didn't know sneezing was a part of a symptom. Oh man, I'm really blotchy. It's because I'm like, I don't know, I'm nervous and trying not to cry, and my emotions are all over. So ignore me, you guys, if I am like all over the place, okay? I just want to inform you guys that this disease or virus is different for each one of us, because he got it, I got it, my two kids got it, my sister got it, her husband got it, and one of her kids. I think I said both of her kids in my last video, but it was only the youngest. Sorry, I'm gonna cough a little bit, and I'll try to edit it out for you guys. So Tuesday he stayed home from work. He called the doctor. They did not have testing available until the following Monday, you guys, and this was on Tuesday. So 6 days after he called, would he be able to go in and take a test. So we still quarantined him. He stayed in the room. I brought food. I'm sorry. I'll have to do some editing so you guys don't hear us all coughing. So if it's choppy, I do apologize. So let's see. So he called, he couldn't get a test. He really thought that it was a sinus infection. So he talked to his doctor. So he was prescribed a antibiotic that he started to take, and what else did he take? I don't remember. So he started to take that, and he really wasn't feeling bad at all. Okay, so that was Tuesday. So Wednesday night, I woke up in the middle of the night, and my son felt like he had a fever. So I took his temperature, and it was 100.6. So then I knew this was the virus. I really just knew this was the virus, but I was still trying to hold on hope, you know, that it wasn't. So Wednesday early afternoon, I believe, my sister called me and said that she wasn't feeling good, that her nasal area felt a little congested. I want to say her throat was hurting her. I can't remember day for day exactly what happened, but she was experiencing like shooting pains in her stomach. Her stomach was tender to the touch. But I can't remember if that was Wednesday or Thursday. So at that point, I'm like, oh my gosh, we all are gonna have it. Okay, so then Thursday, I started to not feel good. I was getting more of like shooting pains through my body. My stomach was tender to the touch. Just kind of starting to feel like weird to the touch, kind of feverish a little bit. I was really congested in my nose. I don't remember if I had a sore throat, you guys. I can't remember. It's crazy because I think I had like a little scratchiness, but it wasn't like burning. It was like a scratchy. It's so hard to remember. So everything's kind of like blurred together these days. So then that was Thursday, I started to feel sick. So then it was my husband, my sister, and Isaiah, my son, and then myself. And then Friday, my daughter started to sound really congested in her nose. At that point, my son was congested as well. And she started to cough, but he wasn't really coughing. She was coughing a little bit of a dry cough. But no other symptoms. She didn't have a fever or anything, but my son had a fever for 3 nights. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, he had a fever. Saturday, he woke up with no fever. So Friday, so I got it Thursday. I woke up Friday. My daughter wasn't feeling great, and I was done. I was sick. At this point, My husband rescheduled his appointment with somebody, like a company through work that did the testing. So he was able to get it done on that Friday, and he woke up not feeling good at all. And that was the first day that he had a fever. So from Monday evening until Friday, he felt okay. He literally felt like he had a sinus infection, but nothing crazy. But Friday he woke up feeling feverish, and he had to drive far to get that test. And it was like a speed test, so he literally got the test within 15 minutes and his results were positive. So from that point, I had to call my sister and tell her, look, he's positive. So we all kind of knew we were positive. I did not test, my kids did not test. We were all showing symptoms. I didn't go anywhere. We stayed at home. I literally was laid out in the bed. The kids laid with me. They were fatigued, they were super tired, and that whole, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 days really feels like a blur. My husband was still in a separate room from us just because we had been separated. I don't know, I was scared, I didn't know, because his symptoms were a little worse than mine, so I didn't want to bring the kids around because they hadn't been with him. I don't know, I had no idea. You know, we don't really know too much about this disease, so it was kind of hard to navigate. So he stayed in the other room. I would just get up to get a soup or crackers in my room. I literally, on my dresser, I had like different cereals, different crackers, I had cuties, I had bottles of water. We weren't using our filter from our fridge at that point. I was just using, because I had like a few cases of water that I just saved. And it's 4 cases. We had 4 cases of water. So I decided at that point, I'm not gonna use the dispenser anymore. So we just started doing that. And then I was making a soup throughout the day. Other than that, I was laid out. My husband was in the other room. We had to have had fevers. We weren't using the thermometer. I only had 1 thermometer. I have 3. One of them had a battery. So I would suggest to you guys to make sure you have multiple thermometers. And my favorite are the ones that they give you when you have a baby in the hospital. They're like the cheapest thermometers ever, but you could use them under your armpit. And you can buy them online for like $6 through Amazon, super cheap. I love them. So anyways, I would suggest having a thermometer for each one of you guys, or, you know, like the kids, yourself, your husband, however you want to do it. But myself and my husband, we did not take our temperature like at that point. I was just using it on my son. And then I know he had a fever. He was struggling in the room with fever and body aches and chills, and it was miserable. And I had a fever from Friday until Monday night. Literally, you guys, it was so painful. Like, you know, when you have the flu and your body is achy. Well, my body was achy, but not only was it achy, but you get these shooting pains, at least for myself. And my sister had the same thing. She was miserable too. We were getting like shooting pains throughout our body, and all I could picture is the little ball, you know, the virus with those pokey things, and it just like playing ping pong inside my body. I kept getting cramps in my toes and in my fingers. It was really weird because I don't get cramps ever. And I just remember feeling so sick that on, I don't even know what day it was. It had to have been like Saturday or Sunday morning. I woke up and I was sleeping in between the kids. And so I woke up and I literally was crying, tears, not like loud crying, but just tears were running down my face. Because of being in so much pain. Like, my body hurt so bad, and myself and my husband kept texting each other back and forth, checking on each other because we were separated. You know, just telling each other like, this is horrible, like I don't feel good. And I was texting my sister to see how she was feeling, and it seemed like I was like always one step behind her in everything. At this point, I want to say she lost her taste and her smell on Sunday. Excuse me, sorry. On Sunday, I did not lose it completely, but I could not smell my essential oils. I was infusing not Vitality, what is it called? Thieves. See, I can't think. I was infusing thieves and just to kind of clear the air in the family room and the kitchen area. And I could not smell it, and I had to go up really close to it and I couldn't smell it. So I opened up Sniffles. It's like a minty type of oil for your kids when they're sick. Literally had to sniff really hard and I could barely smell it. And if you guys are familiar with Young Living oils and that scent, you don't need to sniff real hard to smell it. Like, I'm surprised I didn't burn the inside of my nostrils. So that's where that was. And then I tried to have an apple with peanut butter and I could just taste that the apple was like sour and the sweetness of the peanut butter, but I could not make out the taste. If I had my eyes closed, I would know it was crunchy, sour, and sweet, but I would have no idea. Same thing, I made myself some scrambled eggs for some protein and I could taste that they were fluffy and like salty, but I couldn't taste what they were. It was really kind of weird. So at this point, the kids were still doing really well. My daughter only had a little bit of a cough. My son did not have a fever anymore. They were just really, really fatigued, and I'm so thankful for that they did not get really sick. So for my sister, she still struggled with a cough and fatigue, and that's basically what I was going through. I had a lot of fatigue, and I'm literally just now starting to feel better, probably 2-3 days ago. I'm still coughing. Literally, this is the first time that I got ready, and it's because I didn't want to come looking like a hot mess for you guys. So thank you guys for making me get ready and dressed and feeling human and alive again. With my niece, my youngest niece, not my youngest niece, my sister's youngest daughter, she got it. Her symptoms were sore throat, runny nose, just a little bit though. Her ear hurt her for a couple days or a day, and then she had a low-grade fever. And then, did she have a cough and stuffiness? I think she was stuffy. I don't think she really coughed. And then my brother-in-law, he got it, and he really did not have very many symptoms. So he had a scratchy throat, I think stuffy nose, a headache, and there were a couple days where he was kind of having a hard time breathing. But that's it. Like, we literally were like all over the place. So this literally can hit each one of us different. That's what's so crazy about this. And it makes it so hard because every single symptom is like a symptom for something else. So I'm telling you, if you have a sneeze, if you have a runny nose, a sore, scratchy throat, trouble breathing, a headache, ours was like in the front of our head, like a heavy like pound. An earache, people are saying neck aches, backache. In the meantime, all of our family is helping. My family is sick, but my dad was helping, and my sister-in-law picked up groceries for us. My other sister-in-law picked up bunny food and supplies for the animals. So my brother-in-law, one of them was going out and picking up literally all of our prescriptions for my husband, medicines, food, Gatorade runs. Like, we were living on soup and Gatorade and teas. He was picking up vitamins for us, snacks for the kids to keep them happy. He bought them ice cream and stuff like that. And both of our parents on both sides were calling us nonstop, keeping in touch with us, texting us, checking on us. So that was only the first week, you guys. That was 1 week, and it was not fun. So I woke up on Tuesday, which was the 22nd of December, and I felt better. I felt not as fatigued, or I'm sorry, I didn't feel that sick. Like, the fever felt like it was gone. I wasn't having chills. I do remember, this may be TMI, but it's kind of crazy. I was shaving my legs, and it hurt to shave my legs, you guys. Like, I felt every hair cutting or pulling. It was so crazy, but it was just, it's crazy. And the fatigue that came with it, like, I'm still tired. I get winded. Like, I was cleaning out the cabinet, packing it for my sister, and I was winded. Like, I had ran up a hill or something. It's crazy. Okay, so this video is going to be really long, and I'm so sorry, but I kind of want to have this for future, you know, just so that, I don't know, we could look back at it and be like, thank goodness we got through that. Okay. Sorry, my son's yelling. They're playing games. and I think they're mad at each other. So Tuesday, I woke up feeling better on the 22nd. I was able to get up, come out here, get food. I think I started like straightening up. I was still trying to keep up with dishes and washing everything and like wiping down counters and refrigerators and spraying Lysol everywhere. It was crazy because I did not feel good. But being a mom, if you're a mom watching this, you know that God made us different, you know. Even though we're feeling at our worst, we still can take care of our family. And I think God made us special in that way. Everybody's special. Men are special for their own things, but I think that that is something special that we carry and that we kind of hold together for our family. Because I still look back at it and I don't even really remember getting up and doing it. Do you know what I mean? It seems like it was in a cloud, like my head's in a cloud. I'm so sorry about my voice, you guys. It's still crazy. So I got up, I started straightening up. I had been doing dishes, like I said, because I didn't want germs all over the kitchen from spoons and stuff like that. So Tuesday night, I had made my husband some soup. I went to put it at his door, or I walked in, but I had a mask on because I still wasn't sure because we had been away. I don't know, it sounds really weird when I say it out loud, but that's what we were doing. So, I brought him food and he said, I don't feel good. I feel really hot. And I'm like, okay. And that was the first time that I took his temperature. So I don't know what the previous days were because I felt like I was on my deathbed, seriously. Like I said, I was literally crying in bed one of the nights. And did I mention that? I was laying in bed crying, and because I was in so much pain, and at the same time I was crying, all the tears were falling out of, you know, my eyes, rolling down my face, and I was scared. I was scared that my tears were contagious. Even though my kids had it, I was still scared. It's crazy. So, my husband said he wasn't feeling good. He felt really hot. I took his temperature. No, I lied. He wanted medicine. So I had made him some Theraflu. And I will tell you guys, you probably don't want to give Theraflu. Now, I am not a doctor. I just went through it. I'm just a person telling you guys my experience, my family's experience. But we did use Theraflu to try to relax us to go to sleep. I only did it one night. I really don't take medicine that often. But my husband, so I made him some for him to relax and go to sleep. And I think his throat was hurting him or he was congested. I can't remember. But he had all those symptoms that we had. So the only thing he didn't lose was his taste and his smell. So at this point, I made him Theraflu. I brought it to the room. He started to drink it. And at that point, he told me he did not feel good. He felt really hot. So I took his temperature. It was 103.8. Almost had a heart attack. But I tried to hold it together really good, okay? Because I didn't want to stress him out. So I said, okay, let's call the advice nurse. Let's see what we need to do. So I called the advice nurse, and the man was really nice. He calmed me down, and I told him that I had given him Theraflu, and he didn't tell me that I couldn't. He just suggested that you probably shouldn't use Theraflu because it's a suppressant and it slows your breathing down. And that's one thing we don't want to happen, especially with this, because it's affecting our chest. And with him, he struggles with asthma. He's had it his whole life, really bad. So at that point, we're scared because he just drank a whole cup of it. And I was probably talking to the advice nurse for about 20 minutes. And by the time I took his, So by the time I took his temperature again, it was down to 101.7, which is a lot better than 103.8. So the advice nurse suggested to not give any sleepy types of medicine, to try to just do Mucinex DM or Robitussin DM. And he said, take Tylenol. You could take Motrin. Make sure to switch them back and forth if the fever is not going down. Make him teas. So that's what I started to do. So what I did was I set my timer on my phone, and I had a notebook, that I kept track of everything I was giving him, what his temperature was, what he was eating, making sure he was drinking Gatorade, drinking water. At this point, he couldn't get out of bed. So he was using other things to relieve himself. I don't know if this is TMI, so I'm gonna try to like keep it not so graphic or crazy. But he couldn't get out of bed. So at that point, he had a fever, I would say from Friday, because he was having the chills and everything, but knowingly he had it Tuesday. So Tuesday until Monday. So for sure he had a fever that he was fighting for that many days. And we were just Tylenol, Motrin, and it was always above 100, 101, I would say. So that was really scary. He does have a nebulizer for his asthma, so he was using that, and that seemed to help him a little bit. Now, I will mention that we were really skeptical about going to the hospital. You know, and everybody has their own opinion on this, and don't judge us for this. You know, I'm entitled to our own opinion and our own fears. So during those days, I wanted to talk to an advice nurse or talk to a doctor. But my husband kept saying, let's wait a day. Let's wait a couple days. Let's wait a couple days. I'm okay. I'm okay. The fever's going away. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. And I'm going to respect his wishes because I expect him to respect mine. Even though in my heart, I knew I should have been talking to someone. So what we were seeing on TV with the hospitals was scary. The things that were happening in the hospitals, how just a bunch of things, you guys. You guys know what you guys see. The different, you know, hospital rooms that have like 15 to 20 people in the room. They're in like hazmat suits and they're all in one room together. You hear the death rate, you hear of the meat trucks, you hear just scary, scary things. So instead of us feeling like we could call and they would save him, we were thinking that if he went, we were thinking that if he went, he would die. So we just kept doing the medicine, and I was trying to feed him. I was trying to make sure he was eating or drinking Gatorade and drinking water, and I was trying to get him to move around the bed because you hear about blood clots and so many different things you hear about. So he broke the fever. It was broke for 2 days. So the whole time that he was suffering from those fevers, that was from Christmas. So we did not celebrate Christmas. My kids were so good and so understanding because they hadn't seen their dad either. He was separated in the room. And so we did not celebrate Christmas together. We did not celebrate New Year's together. And that one was pretty tough because myself and my husband have been together since I was 16. And we have been strictly together since I was 21. So I'm now 39. And we have spent every New Year's together since then, even in our teenage years. Even I want to say when I was like 17 and 18, we spent most New Year's together. So this one was pretty tough, you know, because the thoughts of everything goes through your head and you're scared. And it was really sad. So we didn't spend New Year's together. Me and my daughter sat together and watched Star Wars movies. And so through that week, he was fighting the fevers. I think I went back because I had to get my calendar because I don't remember days. And then so he was fighting. He broke his fever, I want to say on Monday the 4th in January or Tuesday. And then so he broke it Sunday the 3rd, and Monday the 4th was the only days he didn't have a fever. Tuesday he was okay, not feeling too good. His stomach hurt him a lot. Wednesday he woke up with a really bad migraine or a headache. And that's another symptom we all suffered, like pounding in the front of our heads. But he suffers from migraines. So when he woke up, he took Excedrin. And he took 3, you guys. And he hadn't really eaten anything. And he didn't call me to make him anything because he knew I was tired and I was mad at him about that. Not mad, but just like, seriously, I would have gotten up and made you something. And then I would have not let him take 3 Excedrins. I think he just wanted the pain to go away. So from that point, his stomach bothered him. And he had to use the restroom. This may be too much information, but so when he went to the restroom, I had to go with him, and I didn't go in there, but I walked him in there and I left so he could use the restroom. And then he opened the door and he just looked like pure panic. So the pure panic on his face, and as he rushed to the bedroom, he told me that he lost feeling in his limbs and his stomach. Now, to rewind a little bit, when he was in the restroom, I could hear him coughing. And he had been using his nebulizer when he coughed because it would help him catch his breath. So I had heard him coughing, and when he would use the restroom, I would change his sheets or straighten his sheets up, straighten his pillows. I would refill his nebulizer because I knew once he walked back to the bedroom that he would have to use it. So as I was doing that, I heard him coughing, and it sounded different, like it was a cough, and then like a short moment, and then a cough, and then a short moment, and then a cough, kind of like he couldn't breathe. So I started to walk back to the bathroom, and that's when he came out and he got to the bed. And he was telling me he couldn't feel his limbs or his stomach, and I was trying to rub his legs. And at that moment I said, I'm calling the doctor. And I should have called the ambulance. So we called the doctor. I talked to the advice nurse. Now my husband suffers with panic attacks. He just started that a few years back, and his arm would go numb into his chest. So he figured that's what it was. He stressed himself out because he couldn't catch his breath, and so he had a panic attack. In the meantime, he was coughing a lot. I had been coughing too. That's when our cough started, was after the fevers. It was kind of weird. Was his cough before his fever ended? I think his cough was still between, like, while he was having his fever, but mostly right after is when the cough like really got, I don't know, bad. So he had been taking Mucinex DM and Tylenol and Motrin. I had stopped the Motrin and Tylenol for 2 days when he broke his fever because we wanted to see if he could be without a fever, and he did. But then the cough started, and then his stomach. So his other symptoms. I hope this is making sense. But these are all things that you should be watching for. And so when I talked to the advice nurse, she got a doctor on the phone, and the doctor, this was at night actually, so that happened in the morning. He did not want me to call the advice nurse. We were reading stuff. The internet is not your doctor. Okay, we'll just say that much. Call a doctor. So, and I can't call the doctor and talk to them about him unless he okays it. Like, he has to tell them, I give my wife permission to talk. about my personal, and I understand because it's HIPAA and all that, I get it. But it's hard when situations like this, you want to be doing what you feel is right because you don't feel like your other is making the right choice, but you can't. So that night we finally talked to the advice nurse. I explained everything to her. She got a doctor on the phone and they advised him that he should go to the emergency room. He still did not want to go. Still. So I did not want to make him go. I'm not his mom. I'm his wife. And even though I wanted him to go, I can't make that decision. Not only because it's not my place, but because heaven forbid if something happened, I would feel like it was my fault. So they said that I can't tell you to come to the ER. I'm just suggesting that that is what we think because of all your symptoms. So when we hung up with them, I talked to his mom. I called my mother-in-law and I told her what was going on. And I told my husband, Oscar, you need to promise me if you feel at all that something is really wrong, then you need to promise me that I can call an ambulance. Because at this point, I could not get him to my car. So he promised. So that night, he wasn't feeling good and I was scared. And so I stayed in the room with him. I stayed with him until 6. No, it was 5 or 5:30 in the morning, and we were just talking. And we were having a really good conversation. You get caught up in your everyday routines or chores or things you have to get done. He worked, I homeschool, I have to take care of the house. Weekends, you know, I do YouTube, and I plan for homeschool, I do our unit studies, like I'm constantly busy. And he works, so we're both busy. And you just get so caught up in life that you don't forget, but you just kind of take advantage. You kind of think that things are going to be the way they are for a long time, you know? And that's how we were, you know? Just had a really good talk. So we talked from about 1 until 5 in the morning. And my daughter woke up and she came into the room and asked me to go lay with her. So I went into the room and I laid in bed. And it's weird because I forgot there's so much that has like happened that I'm not even explaining in here, but I had been waking up through the night giving out medicine, like, you know, and then doing vitamins, doing teas. So my husband is on a high blood pressure pill and he hadn't taken it for weeks. So I don't know why, but he was like, let me take that. Maybe it's affecting me. So I gave it to him. And then that night, this is the same night after he had the incident with his body going numb and me sitting in the room with him because I was terrified to leave him. I felt like, I don't know, I was terrified to leave him. So I had given him that pill and we forgot that it can cause coughing, which was dumb. So anytime he started to fall asleep, he would do like a little cough and it would wake him up. And I don't know if that was the cause. I personally don't think so. I think that it was part of the COVID, but I don't know. I'm not a doctor, so I have no idea. So I went to bed. My daughter came into the room, asked me to go to the room with her. I went in with her, laid down, and I just laid there and listened to him. And I could hear him move around. I could hear him cough. So I knew every time he was coughing, it's because he fell asleep. And I would just lay there and be like, please don't cough anymore. Please don't cough anymore. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. And then he would stop for a little bit longer. Coughing makes me cough, or talking about coughing makes me cough. A little bit longer, and then he would cough, and then he just kept doing it. And then about 6 o'clock, I noticed that he had stopped coughing. So I knew he was asleep, but I was still scared. I kind of wanted to go to the room to check on him, but I didn't want to wake him up. My mom had texted me that morning. She always texts me really early in the morning, just wishing me, you know, to have a good day or just checking in. She lives in another state, so she's been there checking in on us. So I messaged her back and I told her what was happening. And then that morning I woke up and, or I don't know, a few hours later, I woke up and I got him his tea and his breakfast, probably toast, because I think that's what I was giving him. And that day's kind of a blur. He was coughing a lot. I counted how many times he was using his nebulizer, because you're only supposed to use it a certain amount of times. And when we had talked previously the night before, when I wouldn't leave the room, I was just telling him he was worried about like leaving and our daughter being scared, because our 4-year-old, you know, he would notice, but he wouldn't be as affected, we didn't think, as our 9-year-old daughter. So he was really worried about, you know, him leaving or the ambulance coming and it scaring her. And I was just telling him, like, what's gonna scare her more is if something happens, or if we have to call the ambulance because you're not breathing. And then I'm like yelling to her from the other room, you know, to call the ambulance or to bring me my phone or something, and it just being so out of control that would scare her even more. So I was explaining to him, if we did it in a calm way and I told her what was happening and then I called the ambulance and you were ready. I wanted him to be coherent. I wanted him to be able to make decisions. If he went in, you know, I didn't want him going in where he was already so bad off that he couldn't even communicate what he was feeling. So I was explaining to him that if we explained it to her, she would be better off. That, because at this point she hadn't seen him, I think, for 3 weeks or 2.5 weeks. It was something crazy. So anyways, the next day, I was doing stuff throughout the day, probably dishes, getting people food, you know, I don't know. What happened? So he had asked for tea. So I made him tea and I made him soup, and I was walking it to the room and I opened the door and he said, I need you to call the ambulance. And at that moment I felt relief and fear. But at that time I didn't show him that I was scared, because I knew he was scared. But at that point, he knew that there was nothing else that we could do at home to help him. So I told him okay. And he asked me to go talk to the kids. I didn't really explain it to Isaiah, but I sat down with Tally and I just said, Tal, I'm gonna call the ambulance for your dad. I said, don't be afraid. I said, Daddy has to go to the hospital because we can't do anything else to help him. I'm sorry. I said, it's hard for him to breathe. I said, he's doing okay, but he needs help. And then she said, but I haven't seen him. For a couple weeks. And I said, I know. But if we don't call, it'll be longer that we don't see him, or that you guys don't see him. I'm sorry. So I said, Tally, I said, doctors save lives. I said, they're gonna help Daddy. That's why they're doctors, you know? So she said, okay. I said, try to keep your brother in the room, okay? Because I don't want him to be scared when there's people in the house. She said, okay. And she did. She kept him in the room and they played. I think they were on FaceTime with one of their cousins. And so I called and I'm sorry. It's like reliving it in my mind and in my heart. Meanwhile, I had been praying nonstop. And I know my husband was having some deep conversations with God. We're born again and we have surrendered our lives to Him completely. And at times like this, it's hard. But it really truly tells you that we are not in control of this life. So just appreciate it and love on your loved ones. Especially now, things are kind of crazy. And this isn't meant to be a scary video, but I want you guys to know that all of us experience this in a different way. And to not write it off like it's nothing, because it affects each one of us different. So I called the ambulance, or 911, and I told them that we are a COVID positive household. And that my husband was having a hard time breathing. But he was okay to talk, and he was coherent, but I can't get him to my car to bring him to the hospital, that I needed an ambulance. So she just mentioned for all of us in the household to be wearing masks and to have the lights on, the doors unlocked, just kind of walked me through what the procedure was. When they got here, they were at the door, they knocked, I answered it with my mask on, and I was scared for them. I was scared for them. I was scared for them to come into the house. And they said, can your husband make it to the door? And I said no. So they came in and they went to the room and they were talking to him and putting his vital things on. And when I was just gathering his, his inhaler and his phone cord and stuff for him. And they walked him to the door and he got on the gurney. He left. And that was really scary because I didn't know if I was going to see him again. Because because as you know, nobody's allowed at the hospital, which is completely understandable. But being in my shoes, I was saying goodbye to him. So he got to the hospital and he messaged me later that they were doing CAT scans and x-rays and checking for blood clots and giving him medicines and antibiotics, and that he had COVID pneumonia and that they could not find any signs of blood clots. So that was really good. His COVID pneumonia is viral, it's not bacterial, so he can't take any antibiotics for it. It has to clear up on its own. He was there for 5 days and he got better each day. He's on oxygen. He's still on oxygen at the house 24 hours a day. He's doing better and he's breathing better. They said that when he got picked up from the ambulance, his oxygen was at 84. 84. Not good. But he's home and he's doing good. And I'm so thankful. And I pray for the families that are going through this or that have gone through it and have had other outcomes. He's still on his road to recovery, but I see each day getting better. The bad thing with COVID is you never know where it's going to turn. You could do good one day and then bad the next. But he's better. He's using a walker. He's getting stronger and he's eating a little bit more and he's doing well. And he's home with us and my kids got to see him. So he's been home. Thursday was a week. So today is Saturday. So 9 days. But we're very blessed and thankful, and I wanted to get on here so that, you know, you guys know our story. I know a lot of you guys were praying for us. I was kind of debating back and forth about posting on there, but that is why I have this channel, to have a community, to have friends, other homeschooling families, just to kind of be our little tribe. And I hope that you guys find that this channel brings you more than just, you know, a video or one helpful organization video, or, you know, I just hope that this is somewhere where you guys can come for encouragement or to be, I don't know, happy or forget about your things. I mean, not right now, because this was not a happy video, but I just figured that this could help one of you guys start taking your vitamins. I'm not saying that's going to keep you from getting sick, but it'll help build your immunity. Drink some teas. The teas, if you guys do come down with it, you know, peppermint is good for a cough. But what we found that's helping best for my husband is this ginger and probiotic. This really works. I put a good amount of honey in it, and then I make him this. Like I said, the echinacea, or not echinacea, elderberry, that's good. Try to have thermometers in your house. Try to have Mucinex DM, Tessin DM, Tylenol, Motrin, soups, Gatorades, water. Another thing, when he went into the hospital, he was really dehydrated. His oxygen was really low. He couldn't really move. He couldn't walk. Like, it was really bad, you guys. They were giving him shots in his stomach every single day for a blood thinner, just in case he did have a blood clot. So it has been a very rough road, and I know that we should have gone to the hospital earlier, and that's another reason I'm putting this out here. Now, I'm not telling you to go to the hospital. I don't know if all hospitals are the same. I don't know. I'm just saying from my experience, I wish that we would have called 4 days earlier, 3 days earlier. Waiting was definitely not the best thing to do, and we know that. So be kind in the comments, because we know that. And this was, I guess, our plan. This was the way it was supposed to happen. So I don't know. So I wanted to get on here and I wanted to express my gratitude to you guys again and tell you guys our story. And please continue to pray. If you guys are struggling through this or have family that's struggling, or you guys went through this, or if you guys are at all faced with this, you guys can always reach out and I'll pray for you. My email address is down in my description. If you guys don't want to message on the comments, if you want to email me, or you guys could DM me through Instagram. I'll put my name right here for you guys. But that is it. This is so long and I'm so sorry, and I'm so sorry. I'm so emotional. So yeah. All right, you guys, thanks again. I love you guys so much, and thanks for being there for me and my family. All right, you guys, be blessed and stay safe.